Hi everyone, this is Jacob and it's finally Friday. Today I wanted to go over some more ways we can minimize interference. Last time we talked about how we can use our channel plan to do that, and this is going to be a couple other tips to minimize interferences on our network. One of the ways to do this is by increasing your minimum basic rate. Many frames must use the minimum basic rate whenever they're transmitted. This includes your beacons and your probe requests and responses. So it's very important to try to speed those up because those frames are taking up your airtime. And the faster we can talk, the less airtime we're taking up. As well as this helps us eliminate some of that client-induced interference by drawing the client in closer to the center of the cell. It is best practice to try to bump this up to 24 megabits per second when you can. Obviously, you have to be mindful of coverage because of you're increasing the signal strength that a client needs. This can obviously cause holes in your network if you're not careful. Also, for your older 2.4 clients, it shouldn't be a problem anymore. 11B clients are hard to find nowadays on our network, but they do not support the higher rates like the newer clients do. So if they are still around, you may kick them off the network by raising it too high. Like I said, they're rare nowadays, but it's something to keep in mind. So you can see that the cell phone is able to talk at 6 megabits per second currently because that is our minimum basic rate. If we were to raise that to 24, in this diagram you can see that the device will have to get closer to the center of the cell. Once again, just reducing that client-induced interference. Another way of managing interference would be to manage your power settings. Some best practices here in 5 gigahertz would be to start within 10 to 14 dBm or 10 to 25 milliwatts. It depends on how your manufacturer labels those power settings. On 2.4, you would lower that a little bit to 6 to 10 dBm or 4 to 10 milliwatts. And once again, all this is depending on your facility structure. The more loss a wall produces, the higher you can run your power settings. It's important to understand that the max transmit power for most devices falls between 9 and 14 dBm. And here I put iOS devices because they're the only ones who've kind of released this information. A lot of manufacturers don't release this information. So using 9 to 14 dBm as a base, it's important that you don't exceed that 14 range by much because it can create transmit power mismatch between clients and APs. And if that is the case, you can have troubles with your clients being able to get onto the wireless network. This is because the clients will be able to hear the AP, so it will be trying to talk back to the AP saying, I want onto the network, but the AP will not be able to hear the client because the client isn't talking loud enough. It is too far away for the AP to hear the client. So you have to be careful with that mismatch. If you are having clients who are struggling to get onto the network, that is a setting that I would check first. Make sure that mismatch is not happening. Also, be careful of where you place your APs. It is best practice to hang APs from the center of the room. This is because the way RF loses signal strength. If you can remember back to a previous video, we discussed how it drops significantly in the beginning and then it kind of tails out. This allows you to use the free space to your advantage to dissipate some of the signal strength. It's also important to not place APs in the hallways. Because of the open air, it just allows the signals to travel very far through the environment. If you remember last time, I showed you a model of this school with half the APs turned off, and it has very minimal channel overlap. The yellow is once again 3 APs on the same channel, and there is no gray exceeding that number. However, if I put 2 APs in the hallways, you can see that we get some gray areas where there's more than 3 APs on the same channel, and there's a lot more yellow than the previous slide. So it's important to, if at all possible, limit putting your APs in your hallways. That's it for this Finally Friday. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch you next time.